And I've got,
This meeting is being recorded.
okay.
Live and in person. I'm Rick Warren, the Vice President, and I am convening the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Warrenville Public Library District, Wednesday, January 19th, 2022 at 7:01 p.m. in the library meeting room. I will take attendance, and then we'll be passing the gavel, figuratively speaking, to Barbara DeRocher, who is off-site on Zoom, as she will identify herself. So we are all masked, and let's see. We'll go through roll call. Trustee DeRocher.
Here on Zoom.
Trustee Lazan.
You.
Trustee Pika.
Present.
Trustee Richardson is absent. Trustee Rozika is not present currently. Trustee Stahl.
Present.
And I, Trustee Warren, is present too. No others are present on the trustees on Zoom. We are in attendance with Paul and Director Whitmer and
What's her name?
Queen of premises, Jackie, and also have Jamie Perpich, Kathy Gaidos, and Mary Kelly Marquez on Zoom with us.
Hello.
So without further ado, I turn this over to Barbara DeRoche. Take it away, Barbara.
No.
What?
We have to approve, so Barbara has requested to attend remotely and she has a qualifying reason for that. So we just need someone to have a motion to permit Barbara to attend and participate from a remote location.
I move that we allow President Barbara DeRocher to attend and participate from a local
Remote location.
remote location. Second.
And then this could just be a voice vote, so an all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now,
Okay.
Barbara, it's up to you.
There you go.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rick, for doing that for me. The first thing we want to do is approve the agenda. And I believe we have a few changes. Sandy, you want to go over those changes?
Yep, so we do not have a need for a closed session or the discussion of the closed session. So 19 and 20 can be removed.
18 and 19. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
No,
You're right.
19.
19 and 20, and then for item number 18, I would like to add a very brief discussion about the library's unpaid leave of absence policy.
All right, can I have a motion, please?
I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Was that seconded by Trustee Warren?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. This is a voice vote, is it not?
Yes, a voice vote.
Yeah. Trustee Pika,
Aye.
Trustee Stahl,
No,
Isn't it all ayes if it's a voice vote rather than a roll call by name?
oh, sorry. I got it mixed up. So it's a roll call or is it a voice vote?
it's a voice
Voice
vote,
vote.
so all in
Okay,
favor.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is any presentations?
We do not have any presentations this evening.
Any public comment? Is there any public
No public.
present?
There are no public present and there were no public comments submitted by email.
Okay, the correspondence we want to review on page 3 is the DuPage Foundation distribution budget. Do you have any comments on that, Sandy?
I don't have any comments on that. I believe Trustee Stahl had asked if we had a designated purpose for this money. And we don't, generally, this just goes into our general fund, but I like to think in the back of my mind that it's supporting our young readers and being used for things like our new app for the reading clubs, as well as supporting the purchase of books for our summer readers. So it will be used well.
Okay, good. All right.
Jerry is asking a question here, sorry.
Do we have an estimate of how much money we have? I mean, I could do the simple math, but that would be,
I don't have the report here with me, but I know it's more than $40,000.
that's a point, ballpark is fine.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. We're moving on to the consent agenda. So if our secretary could read the consent agenda.
Item A, approve minutes of the December 15th, 2021 regular board meeting. Item B, receive and file financial report for December.
I move.
Okay, it was a short consent agenda, all right.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as read by the secretary.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we had a motion by trustee Pika and a second by trustee Warren. This is a roll call vote. Trustee Stull,
Aye.
trustee Pika,
Aye.
trustee Warren,
Aye. Design.
who am I missing? I can't see everybody. Trustee DeRoche, aye.
Trustee Lazan.
Trustee Lazan, okay, sorry. Okay. So sorry.
Barbara, would it be, I would be happy to call the roll on any of the roll call votes if that makes life easier for you.
No, I just needed to remember who was in the room because some people are missing. All right, I'm just writing that down. All right. So motion carries, and we are moving on to our regular agenda, approving payments for the period of December 16 to January 19.
I move that we pay invoices in the amount of $56,299.43 for the period of December 16th, 2021 through January 19th, 2022, including electronic payments and checks numbers 8595 through 8641. Checks numbers 8596 is voided.
Second.
Okay, we're going to do a roll call vote then. That was motion by trustee Stull and seconded by trustee Pika. Our roll call vote, trustee Stull,
Aye.
trustee Pika,
Aye.
trustee Warren,
Aye.
trustee Lazan,
Aye.
and trustee DeRocher votes aye. Motion carries. All right. Item 8B, approval of transfer of funds.
I move that we transfer $150,000 from our commercial checking account to our operating checking account.
I second.
That was a motion made by trustee Pika and seconded by trustee Stull. We'll do a roll call again. Trustee Lazan,
Aye.
trustee Warren,
Aye.
trustee Pika,
Aye.
trustee Stull,
Aye.
and trustee DeRocher votes aye. Motion carries.
I do have a money-related question, please. I'm not sure where it goes, so I'm just to ask it. Why are the copier receipts so high? Did someone come in and copy a book? They're at 161% over the budget.
We underestimated the income for that.
Okay,
To be honest, I think they're probably on target with pre-pandemic numbers. It's just that we under budgeted that income line.
makes sense. It just stuck out, and I was like, "Whoa!" Somebody came in and copied a book.
You know what? Somebody gets $50.
Thank
All
you.
right, we are moving on to item 10, new business, since we don't have any unfinished business. We're on page 23 of our packets, COVID-19 paid leave.
Need a motion?
I move that we approve 2 weeks of paid COVID-19 leave for all employees for December 26, 2021 through March 31st, 2022, and authorize the library director at her discretion to award 2 weeks of paid COVID-19 leave for all employees for each quarter beginning April 1st, June 1st, September 1st, and January 1st. COVID-19 paid leave will not be cumulative beyond the end of a quarter. Upon separation of employment, COVID-19 paid leave will not be paid out or reported as sick leave to IMRF. And trustee Rozika just arrived.
7:12.
Oh, thank you for letting me know. Did we have a second?
Yes,
Sandy goes on.
trustee Lazan.
So, Sandy Whitmer and I started to have just a brief conversation about some questions I had about this afternoon. And Sandy, I don't know if you want to expand a little bit about that conversation.
Why don't you, well, Barbara had some concerns about the use of 2 weeks to define the amount of leave that was available to staff. So I thought I had tried to define that in this document for full-timers. 75 hours is the 2-week equivalent. For all of the part-timers, the 2-week equivalent would be prorated based on each position's authorized weekly hours. So if a position was authorized for 20 hours a week, the 2-week equivalent would be 40 hours. So Barbara's question was whether that should be framed in a different way, I believe. In the motion.
Because 2 weeks usually means, I mean, it can mean 10 days or it can mean 14 days, depending on what frame of reference. And it's a different number of days if you're a part-time employee. So I thought 2 weeks was maybe not the most accurate term that we could use. And then our conversation veered a little bit because I said to Sandy that I heard Fauci, or I read something that Fauci, the head of the CDC, or whatever his position is, he stated that the that COVID-19 is going to become an endemic, meaning it's going to be around for a long time. And it's going to act a lot like other things that pop up now and then in different ways and in different regions, like measles and chickenpox and things like that. And my concern with this is a short-term solution for what's happening right this minute, but it might be I mean, I don't know if it's something that we're going to continue to do if it becomes an endemic.
Right. So based on that part of our discussion, my question is, if it would be better for us to leave this COVID policy alone or just adapt it temporarily through March 31st, and instead concentrate our efforts on developing a policy that would give sick leave benefits to all of our employees. The situation that we really have now is our full-timers get the equivalent of 12 days, 12 7.5-hour days each year. They earn that over time, but our part-timers do not get any kind of a sick leave benefit. So what that has done at this point is that our part-timers have basically PTO that should be used for vacation and sick leave. Most of them use that for sick leave, or for most of them use it for vacation time. Some use sick leave, but they don't carry a large balance of time for the purpose of time off needed for sick time. So that is kind of, I think, is that where we were at a little bit, Barbara?
Yeah, and I mean, our underlying or our overreaching goal here is to have people have the ability to stay home when they are sick.
Yeah.
I mean, what we want to do is increase the safety of, we want to increase safety for everybody. And we want to, allow people to feel they have the option to stay home when they're sick and not have to use up their vacation time to do it. So it would be, we already have some people who are doing that. And so Sandy wanted to move on this fairly quickly. So we might want to temporarily approve this, but I think it would be a good conversation for us to look at a policy and also look at what the financial implications of such a policy would be in the next meeting.
And I didn't know if we could also look at then possibly what is, knowing that you can go, what is it, to the library association and see what you could say the benchmark is and see if what, if, you know, say what other libraries are possibly doing as to how much or how little or that type of thing too.
Yes, so we do have access to surveys of benefits data.
Okay.
I think your point is well taken on the financial implications. That was my first thought when I read that. And I also think the idea that you and Sandy collaborated on of having an paid sick leave policy is good because there's other things besides COVID
Right.
that people should stay home from. They should not be coming in with bronchitis.
Or
This
the
is a
flu.
public place and they should not be coming in here and dealing with the public. So I would be in favor of amending this only till the 31st of March with the idea that we would discuss prior to then the paid sick leave situation.
I agree with Jerry.
Well, and I understand too, with sick leave that it's something that's earned, but knowing that, say, somebody starts now in the middle of winter when some of these diseases, you know, whether it's the flu, pneumonia, bronchitis, as well as COVID being at their worst, if it's something that could be looked at, that maybe that could be front loaded. So again, somebody isn't struggling at the very start of their employment with, you know, coming here when they should be staying home.
So we can definitely look at that. In addition to the financial implications, there are also implications as far as how that will be managed, how those accruals are modified. It is very complex from an administrative standpoint and how we work that in our payroll system.
Mhm.
So my hope was to actually look at this in terms of something that we would implement at the start of the fiscal year
Okay.
with some structure changes for our employees so that we could standardize the hours that people are working. Because we have people right now who are working anywhere from 16 hours to 20 hours to 22 hours to 24 hours to 30 hours a week. It's complicated when it comes to doing these accruals. And it would simplify things if we had a policy that our part-timers are hired for 24 hours a week and they earn benefits on 24 hours a week. You know, from time to time, they may need to be pick up a few more hours here, a few less hours there, but their benefits would be based on 24 hours a week. It would standardize things, just like it's standardized for full-time employees. So we would have, you know, say, I don't know what the hours are, if it's 20 hours, if it's 24 hours. The part-time employees would be working a specific number of hours, and then we would have our full-time employees. It's just administratively, it would make things much simpler, and the time to be able to do that would be, a good time to do that would be at a fiscal year position or changeover.
So really, you want to have this policy in effect then through June 1st, rather than just through March?
We could do it through June 1st. So it would be that there would be,
Wouldn't it be July 1st? Because the year ends on June 30th.
you're correct, it should be July 1st. Yeah. But it would be, basically, we would be, we would be, sorry. Yes. You would eliminate the part of the motion that says June 1st, September 1st, and January 1st.
Right, okay.
It would just be that we would award 2 weeks of paid COVID leave for all employees for each quarter beginning April 1st.
Okay.
That would be it.
Okay, so do you want me to amend the motion, or are we saying I should withdraw it and redo it?
I think probably just amend it if that's what everybody is thinking is the best option right now.
Well,
Okay.
I still have a couple of points of discussion.
Okay.
I just wanted to be clear. I did clarify this with, I'm looking at my notes here. I did clarify this with Sandy that it really only covers those 3 areas. It says includes but not limited to, but it really does only cover those 3 areas, and it doesn't really, those 3 bullet pointed areas that are on page 23. It doesn't cover someone taking leave because they're uncomfortable working in a public space. Being uncomfortable is not what this is for. There has to actually be illness involved or illness of a family member.
Right.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Or is it stated? But are not limited to is,
Yeah, do you want to
that
include?
leaves that open for what Barbara's talking about.
I think you could probably add that,
Just
if
a
you amend the
sentence.
motion to say,
This policy will not apply to individuals who are uncomfortable working in a public space during COVID.
I think it might be better to say that it's to be used for absences related to COVID-19 vaccination or testing. Maybe it just needs to say those 3 bullet points.
That's,
Well, but then can we just take out are not limited to?
Yes, you would say COVID-19 paid leave is available for, and then you could just read those bullet points.
Take out examples.
Okay.
should it also include a bullet point, since it doesn't say the actual, I mean, because it's vaccination and resulting effects of illness, shouldn't something say in here illness, because it doesn't, otherwise it doesn't say illness.
It says employees need to quarantine or isolate. I would presume that that's what you said.
Okay,
I think that's the reason that, yeah,
okay, so I amend the motion to, so I'm skipping over to award 2 weeks of COVID-19 leave for all employees for each quarter beginning April 1st through July 1st, and COVID-19 paid leave for vaccination or test appointments and resulting effects or illness. Employees need to quarantine or isolate. Employees need to care for a family member who needs to quarantine or isolate.
Wait, what happened to December 26th through March 31st?
I think she was just reading that.
I'm
The part
reading
that
the
she's
part I'm
amending.
amending. I'm not
Oh,
reading the part that we're
I'm
leaving
just
in.
thinking of Jackie, that's all.
Yeah.
Is it better, Jackie, is it better to withdraw the motion?
And
I
then,
think so,
okay,
Okay, but then,
and restate it all.
yeah, so do
Okay.
you have that,
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
okay, so I withdraw my motion.
okay, and
Okay.
then,
I approve 2 weeks of paid COVID-19 leave for all employees for December 26, 2021 through March 31st, 2022, and authorize the library director at her discretion to award 2 weeks of paid COVID-19 leave for all employees for each quarter beginning April 1st through July.
well, no, just say beginning April 1st.
Okay, for all, for all employees beginning April 1st
Through June 30th.
through July 1st. COVID-19 paid
No.
30th. Okay,
Just say, I think we could just say beginning April 1st.
yeah.
Because that's the quarter is 3 months, so we know.
Okay,
it's
so
April
are we still leaving in the dates then, be December 26th?
Yes, because that is more than a quarter.
Okay, so should I do December 26th, 2021 through July 1st?
I think it should be June 30th.
Well, there's another question then. Do you want it just to be 2 weeks completely from December 26th through June 30th?
That's what I would,
Is that what we want it to be?
it's much clearer.
Yeah, because otherwise why have March 31st, 2022 and then do the,
Okay,
Well, Sandy's question is really because she was allowing for more periods of 2 weeks. in the
Right.
way that she originally wrote it.
Order evaluating it.
So that's 2 months out of a year that would be authorized to be.
Well, and then why can't it just say and authorize the library director at her discretion to award 2 weeks of paid COVID leave for the period of April 1st through June 30th?
That sounds good.
We
I'd
need
love
somebody to type this up. Jackie's shaking her head over there. And then the
I
other,
get 3 or 4 different people.
I know.
saying what
so
they
the
want.
other question is, do you want there to be a definitive point in this motion that explains what 2 weeks means?
Oh, that's right.
No, I think that it's clear by what you've written.
Okay,
Okay, so I'm gonna withdraw all the motions that I've said.
Try it again.
So now I am going to ask Sandy to tell me what I should say so we don't confuse things and keep the record clear.
okay. Well, give me a second because I'm gonna type this up.
Okay,
Sorry.
Sandy, before you do that, are you feeling like there needs to be another period of 2 weeks available?
That's hard to say at this point.
What if someone's child becomes ill and they have to stay, take care of the child? They get ill.
That's why I asked, I think the original motion said it was authorizing the director at her discretion. So,
That- I think that has to stay in there.
you know, I
Yes.
think it depends on what is,
And who knows what the status of things will be after March.
Well,
1st.
this doesn't say that you can't at your discretion give them another 2 weeks.
right.
This doesn't
That's-
say that.
That's what I'm thinking, rather than, because this is the other way I feel, if we're limiting it to per quarter, so somebody is sick for 2 weeks and then they have to care for a sick child for another 2 weeks in that same quarter. And yet, the next quarter, they may not need it at all. So, I mean, this is what's getting
so
complicated.
according to the current CDC guidelines, 5 days, people get 5 days max. So that allows 1 5-day instance for the employee, 1 5-day instance for the employee's
2 weeks, family.
significant other, whatever. That's basic. Now I'm back to talking about days, but it's really 2 weeks of time. So that's kind of what I based the 2 weeks on.
Okay,
And then beyond that, it would be unpaid or using your your regular paid time off or vacation or sick leave, whatever you have available.
okay.
That seems reasonable to me.
I agree.
And maybe add the proviso that this would be reviewed after 6 months of experience.
Well,
Well,
it's
no,
gonna be
'cause we're
reviewed
gonna-
before the budget.
We're gonna look at the
I
paid
thought that we were
leave.
talking about June 30, July 1.
Yes. It'll be reviewed and look at the financial implications.
For a paid
Yeah.
sick leave
Right, for next year's budget.
process.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call
So things can be amended and changed at that time and look at the budget.
it. Who knows
Huh?
who knows where the pandemic can be done
That's right.
every day. A new dawn.
No, this is already starting to take for this variance. So.
What was it?
Is Sandy writing?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
she's typing.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we can all see it. Sorry.
So that way I can read it in a cohesive or
It will not
coherent
be left
manner.
open to interpretation. We can't see it, I'll just have to add it later.
Can you save that, Sandy, on your computer?
Send it to him.
Are you
I'll try to remember to send it to you before I turn it off.
Okay.
Um, you can look at it.
The only question I have is, okay, is where it says for the period from March 1st, did you mean April 1st?
Yes.
Okay, because you had December 26th through March 31st
Thank you.
above. Okay. Okay, so now you're ready for me to read this.
Hold on.
Maybe immediate family members?
Now we're defining immediate family, mother, father.
Okay, so we want to get that specific.
or a
And members
household
of the
member?
household. Household
We'll follow the FMLA, the federal, if we follow the language that's in FMLA, it's a child, a spouse, or a parent.
Okay,
What about household people that are not a spouse?
That's up to you guys.
Partner.
What if?
or household member.
If you
I would
go to-
just say household
If
member.
you go to household member, that eliminates me being able to take care of my parents.
Oh,
Oh,
Partner should do for spouse.
yeah,
Family member.
a spouse,
Well, then you
partner.
get second cousin twice removed
Yeah, somebody in Tennessee.
yeah.
from Bahamas.
Oh, it would just maybe spouse/partner.
Jackie, are you able to pull up? I can pull it up here. What's our sick leave policy?
There's partner in here. I know that.
I know that too. I'm just trying to find that language so we could be similar.
FMLA.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There.
So
Sick
this
leave,
is the
paragraph there.
This is the paragraph for our sick leave. Biological, adopted, foster, stepchild, or child of a person standing in local parentis. That's the definition of a child. A spouse, a domestic partner, a sibling, a parent, mother-in-law, father-in-law, grandchild, grandparent, or step-parent. So what of those would you like to include?
Where does it say mother?
Parents.
Oh,
Parent.
parent.
I believe.
I was just like, wait. a minute.
Mother-in-law would get covered with.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to be so worried about the semantics of this because it's at Sandy's discretion.
I think, yeah, we're getting bogged in the weeds right now.
Can we just read it the way that Sandy wrote it out?
Okay, well, so do you want me to read it as is right now, Sandy?
What if we say a child, and we will know to refer to our sick leave policy what a child is.
Mhm,
Yeah,
that's fine.
A spouse, a domestic partner, or a parent.
Okay,
And we'll leave off mother-in-law, father-in-law, grandchild, grandparent, step-parent.
Yeah,
Because if it's your grandchild and you are acting
in local
in
parenting.
place of the parent,
Okay,
we would probably allow that.
okay, so,
that's where your
That's
discretion
generous.
would come in.
Right.
okay, so then I move we approve 2 weeks of paid COVID-19 leave for all employees for December 26, 2021 through March 31st, 2022, and authorize the library director at her discretion to award 2 weeks of paid COVID-19 leave for all employees for the period from April 1 through June 30th, 2022. COVID-19 paid leave will not be cumulative beyond the end of a quarter. Upon separation of employment, COVID-19 paid leave will not be paid out or reported as sick leave to IMRF. COVID-19 paid leave may be used for vaccination or test appointment for the employee or minor child, and resulting effects or illness, employees need to quarantine or isolate, or the employees need to care for a child, spouse, domestic partner, or parent who needs to quarantine or isolate.
Jackie, I'm emailing this to you right now.
Thank you.
Who knew?
nicely read. That motion was offered by trustee Stoll and seconded by
Warren.
Warren.
trustee Warren. Okay. All right, this seems policy-ish, so I'm gonna do a roll call vote. Everybody good with that?
Yes.
Trustee Stoll,
Aye.
trustee Pika,
Aye.
trustee Ritzika,
Aye.
trustee Lazan,
Aye.
trustee Warren,
Aye.
and trustee DeRocher votes aye. Motion carries. All right,
Everyone who was
Yeah.
involved.
Did you email that to me?
She said she did.
I just did.
Okay.
all right, now moving on to 10B, new business, library holidays and closures on page 24. There's some changes that were outlined by Sandy. Here, they seem pretty straightforward to me. The thing that Sandy wanted feedback on. I mean, there isn't even a motion here. Oh, you gave it to us in the other sheet.
Yeah.
Right.
I move we accept Director Whitmer's recommendation and approve the dates for library holidays and closures through January 1st, 2023.
Second.
That was trustee Lazan,
Yes.
seconding, okay. So for the discussion part, Sandy, is it your wish that we look at whether or not we want to include some of these other dates that are on page 25? Or
I just-
these,
Before we get that far, Heather did point out to me that I had a typo on the list of dates, which we'll just assume that that typo wasn't there. The last three dates are Saturday, December 31st, Sunday,
First.
January 1st, and Monday, January 2nd. So we'll just count that as a scrivener's error.
It's
Um,
leap year. No.
Yes, but yes, I was just interested in whether or not the board had any strong feelings, whether or not we should be closed for any of these other federal or state holidays.
I'm wondering if we don't want to deflect that and allow one or two personal days for the holiday of your choice, which will allow you to take advantage of whatever seems to be important to you at a particular time.
that creates more of a staffing issue, doesn't it, Sandy?
It could.
And then my question would be, what's gonna happen? I think there's legislation, I don't know the status of it, for voting day to become a national holiday. That could impact things too down the line.
So that'd be one of the,
One
I
of
think the
them she's
regular
asking about.
statutory type holidays.
General election day.
Right.
They've
This is
already-
the second year that they've done it at the state level that I, as a county employee, have gotten that day off.
There you go. That wouldn't be a personal.
Well, my general response to this is these are the days that a lot of people go to the library.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of as well. If we're limiting accessibility by the community on some days that I bet it's heavily used.
Probably the only day I was thinking is just, and again, from you, is the Juneteenth, just because that's a day when the weather's not certain that I'd be more likely to want some time off to go to the pool.
Yeah, and to Barbara's point, and Heather brought this up in a phone call with me earlier this week. You're exactly right. Typically, these are days when other people have off of work and they do come in and use the library. Our staff, generally, if there is a no school day, we generally have a program planned, at least for the kids. So there's that to consider as well. I'm okay if we leave this list as it is, and perhaps in the future, at some point before the start of next year, I can look and see what some other libraries might be doing and where we are at. in comparison with those other libraries.
I would like to proceed that way.
Yeah, and even at that, even if there's a way, not, just to see what the usage is on some of the holidays up to that point, just, ballpark, I mean, that's,
Okay. And I think another good thing that we could consider is on these holidays, if they are, say, no school days, that the programs that we have on those dates somehow relate back to, why that holiday is the reason.
yeah.
Okay,
Unrelated,
It is pretty common for organizations now to have some floating holidays.
I was gonna say, you don't celebrate some of these days.
That's why I figured that a personal day would allow you to take care of Hanukkah or some other Eid,
Okay.
Islamic, and you wouldn't have to worry too much about multiple days for Christmas.
Right.
Or here we've got a holiday on Monday, July 4th. And if everybody's traveling on July 4th, then maybe that wouldn't be too healthy either. So I don't know. It all depends on what you consider as important.
I guess my other question too is if we, possibly look at floating holidays as an option, what the financial impact would be
I
as
was
well.
just gonna say the same
Yeah.
thing. We now have unpaid sick leave on the table. Now we're talking about floating holidays. What is this gonna cost to do this? Do we have the budget to support possibly
And,
a lot of more days off and be able to staff and all those things?
and some of it is sustainable into the future, like this year we might, but then what happens, say, even 5 years down the road, are we still gonna be able to sustain it at the same rate as well?
I mean, looking at that, why are we closed on Monday, December 26th?
that's because they're
It's a
full-time
holiday.
staff. And you know what, that's something, Jake and I we talked about that, and we can take that off the table. The reason is because our full-time staff typically work, not all, their full-time staff typically work Monday through Friday.
Mhm.
So when you have a holiday, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, or New Year's Eve and New Year's Day that fall on a weekend,
Mhm.
those full-time staff have to take, if you're extending them,
Yeah.
those as paid holidays, those full-time staff have to take 2 days off. And then it can become a bit of a crunch to staff the desks.
Yeah.
This is an unusual case. Those holidays fall Saturday, Sunday, once every 6 years, once every 7 years.
Mhm.
So this would not be typical. Typically, if it's only one holiday on the weekend, our staffing schedule, we can manage that. It's that in 22, this next cycle, we actually basically have 4 holidays that the full-time staff have to take off other days for those.
I mean, why are we closed Easter?
I don't know. This board is the policy-making entity for the library district. So
I don't think anybody would come to the library on Easter.
Well, then it's
Why
kind of
not?
like in cubicles so that
It's a family day.
Why? It's a religious holiday, then not
Yeah, but usually
everybody
most-
celebrates.
Yeah, but most people that are Christians celebrate Easter.
Not everybody is a Christian.
This is true, but I mean, I don't think they'll be coming to the library.
So the question would be, is it worth the expense of paying the staff to be in the building on a day, would the traffic be enough to support having staff in the building on that?
not
Okay.
Christmas.
That's the question.
Or probably Cyber Monday for that matter.
I mean, yeah.
Right. I understand your point, Sandy, but that's
I mean, as a person who is not a Christian,
right.
it's like, why do we, these days? And like Rick, it's like, your day is forgotten about.
That's why I think it would be good for us to consider having some floating days. So that if there is a particular day that you can celebrate it then.
So the paid holiday policy, which is the next item on the agenda, does have, because we have to do this, if we're talking about, employees celebrating religious holidays, that we are not closed, that we're open, but an employee is celebrating a religious holiday on a day when we are open. That the employee can use vacation time or take unpaid time off, or discuss other potential arrangements with their immediate supervisor. We just ask that they notify their supervisor at least 2 weeks in advance of the holiday. This holiday shouldn't be a surprise, but we have employees that do this, and we work with the employee to make sure that they are able to take those days off, whether it's with pay, without pay. They have to use their vacation time, but Sandy's point is, should the library be open on days for those people who are not celebrating that holiday?
But I mean, it does come into how much traffic comes through too.
Right.
Well, on those that are traditionally celebrated, you're gonna have few enough people coming in because there's other things that they're doing with family, friends, or such. And if you have them open because other people are not celebrating them, then somebody can come in and use the library. Seniors, I don't know, single people, out of towners are not able to be home, and they might appreciate the openness of something. Personally, I like to drive past malls on Christmas Day and see that there's no cars in front of Walmart. It's a wonderful feeling to me. But other than that, it seems like it would be more inclusive to have more options available to staff, with the idea that not all staff is going to decide to all of a sudden take Eid off. Maybe
So
nobody
you're
does,
talking about, you're thinking of having a policy for either floating holidays or personal days.
Well, I don't know, I guess, the difference between, the semantic difference between lieu days, floating holidays, or personal days.
Well,
So you could pick any term that you'd like to use.
but it also depends on, do you have enough staff here to staff those days?
Right.
That's my greater concern.
How many people celebrate other days? Would you have enough staff here to staff it?
And would there be enough traffic on those particular days to actually justify having the staff there?
Again, you're going to have more staff available on non-traditional days. And
Not
on
necessarily.
traditional days, your staff is going to be needed.
You still
But
have to
there's-
have a certain amount of staff here.
There's
You
still
just can't
an
have one
expense
person. here.
also with opening the building.
Well, yeah,
It's minimal, but it's an expense. And even if you say, oh, we're gonna open for 5 hours and you have 10 people, is that cost effective? That would be my concern.
Yeah.
Because most of these holidays, the major ones like Easter, Christmas, those are traditionally celebrated holidays by the greater part of the population. In my eyes.
that's true, but even that, those people are ordering stuff from catalogs and online,
that's
and
a
they're
whole
delivered
different-
on those
That's a
holidays.
whole different topic now because everybody's ordering online 24/7.
Right, but everybody's becoming.
So you want the library to be open 24/7?
I don't think that we could do that,
No, we
but that
couldn't.
would be the
we
way
couldn't.
that, of the future that you'd expect it to be.
But we're not talking about the future right now. We're talking about 2023
Yeah.
and what holidays, and we've already discussed that we need to look at a policy for some of these things going forward. But now, at this point, we just need to determine what we're doing in 2023. Sorry, Barbara, but I just don't.
So
All right, I think we just need to close this part of the conversation and vote on what the motion is, and that is to take Sandy's recommendation for these holidays.
Yeah, this is just for this time period, 2022 through January 2nd of 2023, basically.
Right, I meant to say, I'm on 2023 already. That's what I meant to say before. Nobody caught it, Heather.
And the
I did.
motion,
Thank you.
who did this motion?
I did.
So
Heather did.
I have a typo on the page with the motion. It should really be through January 2nd of 2023.
Well, they asked for that.
Okay. So,
If you're willing to allow us to close for 3 consecutive days. Now, our current policy is, I don't think it's that, but
And you close for 3 consecutive days in December too.
right. So that's, maybe we don't close on the 26th of December and the 2nd of January. And we just have to find a way to make the staffing work.
Why don't we just try this? I mean, it's just a one-time thing.
Because
Right.
those are, I
Let's
mean,
just
that's only a week apart. That's the library being closed almost, you know.
I will tell you that some libraries during COVID, to give their staff a break, actually shut down for 1 full week, 2 full weeks. So I feel like this is a very small thing.
and I feel like it's gonna help staff morale too. It's gonna be, a nice break for them. And again, it's an unusual situation.
Well, yeah, the point is they're so tired, they need that extra day, so.
I also think as long as it's publicized well in advance, which I'm sure Kathy will do a great job of with signing and
And
emails.
there is, talking to staff, I'll be fully transparent here. And I believe somebody on this group brought this up as well, or asked about it. If we close December 26th and January 2nd, the part-time staff will lose hours. Because we won't be open for them to work, and they get paid regardless of whether they work the day or scheduled the day. They get holiday pay for December 24th and 25th. It doesn't matter if they're scheduled or not, they get paid. So when we add this 3rd day of closure, this is something that I didn't consider. But that means our part-time pays don't get paid for those days either.
So I'm trying to understand.
We do have enough staff to be
Is
open
it-
on this.
You added Monday, December 26th and Monday, January 2nd because of the staffing problems, because so many people take them off?
No, they have to take off, if they're full-time, they have to have the Monday off.
If the full-timers who are not typically scheduled for Saturdays and Sundays have to take a different day off in order to take advantage of the paid holiday benefit,
Okay,
which means that, we have to finagle it a little bit. And there's a possibility, I don't know, maybe it's not a problem. I'll ask here. Paul, is it a problem?
Suggestion. Instead of having to take those 4 days within those 2 weeks, we extend the time period before the holidays and after the holidays, the full time to take those 4 days.
But again, this is a one-time.
Let's
I
just go
think
with
I'm
it.
gonna back off of this discussion, honestly, because there are so many factors here that I don't know that we can ever come to something that's gonna.
I think it was done very well, and we should just go with it.
okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and call the vote for the motion that was called, or the motion that was stated.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do a voice vote, or should I do a roll call?
Roll
You have
call.
to do roll call.
It's the policy.
Okay. Trustee Stoll,
Aye.
Trustee Warren,
Nay.
Trustee Lazan,
Nay.
Trustee Pika,
Aye.
Trustee Ratzika,
Aye.
Trustee DeRocher votes aye. Motion carries. Okay. Moving on. We are now at page 30, approving revisions to employee handbook and holidays. And this, it relates to what we just did. Correct, Sandy?
Yes.
So you need a motion, correct?
Correct.
I move that we approve revisions to section 5.4 holidays in the employee handbook.
Is there any further discussion? Okay. Then we'll do a voice vote. Trustee Ratzika,
You need a roll call vote. Voice
Sorry.
vote is in favor.
right, sorry, sorry, roll call vote. Trustee Ratzika,
Aye.
Trustee Lazan,
Aye.
Trustee Warren,
Aye.
Trustee Stull,
Aye.
Trustee Pika,
Aye.
and Trustee DeRocher votes aye. Motion carries. Okay. We are now at the director's report on page 33. Anything there you want to highlight, Sandy?
I don't have anything to add to this, so unless anyone has any questions about the contents of the report.
I thought the compliment was great. Very nice.
That compliment was quite nice. That was shared with Kiri. Okay, then we're going to go on to department head reports. Any trustees have any comments about the department head reports in general?
I would just like to do a shout out for Julie and Taylor and their brainstorming idea. I think, while they may not be able to do that, I think it's great. They're kind of looking for new and different ideas. So well done. Two down.
I agree. That was quite an interesting write-up that they did. I always enjoy reading that stuff.
Really.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to highlight from the department head reports? I saw we got 3 new, Jamie, 3 more residents fully activated their cards. I'm sad it's not more than that.
Not in droves, but coming in.
How many were actually sent originally? I mean, altogether, the new residents that were contacted.
Off the top of my head, I want to say it was around 260. And they are trickling in. I was going to say we are now up to 12, which it's a slow process, but I'm surprised to see that people are, that we've sent them to in October. They are coming in now, or they're calling and saying, hey, I got this card in the mail. What do I do now? So it's nice to hear that. And I would also say that our online users, so people that register online through our website and have digital access, we've seen definitely an increase this month in how many new online users we're getting. We had very few in December, but it seems maybe in January people want to check more out. They've got their goals for the year. So I'm seeing a slow increase for new residents, but definitely more of an increase in our online users and our in-person registrations. So I am hopeful that more people are coming to the libraries. Our hold shelves are really filled to the brim. So I'm still hopeful. Yeah.
Good. Thanks so much, Jamie.
I'm glad that curbside pickup will remain in some form. Thank you.
It was very helpful to me this week when I wasn't feeling well to just be able to run in and grab my stuff. That was very helpful.
Necessary to bring it out to the car, but I like the table idea.
All right. We're on to the president's report then. If no one has any other comments about the department head reports. And basically just, we're gonna have our next meeting on Wednesday, February 16th. And do we need to schedule, Sandy, some review of the closed session minutes for next time?
I will bring that report. Typically, that report is included in the packet, unless the secretary wants to schedule time to do that review and provide a report to the board.
I guess I'm volunteering.
Okay.
Good job.
I have some
Okay.
time available on President's Day or Lincoln's birthday.
I'll make arrangements to get the minutes to you, and then you can review them and see what needs to be released or.
Good. All right, let's go to the treasurer's report.
If everybody has noted here that the city of Warrenville has informed us that the developer donation balance is now $9,702.54. Yep. And the, our cap now, our levy cap has now been increased to over 5%. This is going to be affecting property taxes that we will be receiving in 2023. So that'd be a nice increase for us.
Good. All right. Secretary, do you have anything to report?
No, everything looks great, thanks to the administrative assistant, or the queen of the domain.
All right. I don't believe we have any committee reports. Trustee comments?
I do have one, and I'll make it very brief. I attended the State of DuPage County event today. There were about 200 people in attendance. There were also 14 different vendors that would be helpful to local businesses. It was geared at letting everyone know what the state of the county is now. Dan Cronin, Bob Berlin, and Jim Mendrick were there. And I have just a few things to say. They are a very collaborative team of people. From what I could see in the presentation, I realize what's in the public and what really goes on may be two different things, and Heather may be able to speak to some of that. But they certainly seem to get along very well, and they were very collaborative in their efforts. The goals of the county are economic recovery and development, public health and public safety of our citizens. And there is, of course, an emphasis on crime in our county. But I was very pleased to learn they are definitely moving forward with using technology, not only the license plate readers, but drones, software that will help the state's attorney's office. They did a great job talking, and I don't want to take your time in the detail that it was presented to me, but it was a great presentation. I think the businesses that were there, the elected officials, and some of the other people that were there asked some great questions. They asked about things like diversity in the offices, what the sheriff was doing about human trafficking, what we were doing now with the idea that Cook County is releasing people so quickly back out on the street, and they're coming to DuPage with their stolen cars and things to do here. So it was very great to network with some people. Unfortunately, I'm glad I went because I didn't meet anybody else from Warrenville there. So
Thank you for attending.
that's it. I did bring a bag of goodies, and you are welcome to look through them, anything you'd like. If you don't find anything you like, that's fine. Sandy will pass them on to the staff. So, thank you.
I'll just add to that, I know it was in the Daily Herald recently as to how much the courthouse is going to expand because of the increase in technology. In terms of like the body cam footage and the
Yep.
state's attorney, they're gonna be adding on to the courthouse because I guess the public defender's office is having people in closets because they're so tight on space for the amount of people that they're hiring, and they're gonna, I guess, there's, how do I want to put it? The second, I guess they're gonna add on to the second floor, so we'll have a third floor in the new wing over there in the 503 building. So the only other question is that I don't know where all these extra people are gonna park. 'Cause then-
Well, and those people are necessary because
Yeah.
of all the evidence they now can review with the body cameras and the digital
Yeah.
things that are coming that way. It does allow for a higher prosecution rate and better conviction ability, but it is a staffing issue. It's not just one person, like Heather said. And the budget for the county, the way they're engineering things will allow for that, so.
Remember when the courthouse was downtown Lee?
Right.
Okay, thank you very much for that information and insight. We're gonna move on to 18. Sandy had something
Yes.
for us to talk about?
This was about the library's unpaid leave of absence policy. They're like heavy on the employee handbook tonight. So the policy is intended to make unpaid leave available to employees who are not eligible for leave that's provided under the Federal Family Medical Leave Act. However, we have realized that our current unpaid leave policy requires our employees to be employed for at least 1 year before they're eligible for an unpaid leave of absence. So this leaves our newer employees without access to time off in cases where either the employee or the employee's family member has a serious illness. So we would like to remove that 1-year eligibility requirement and plan to bring a revised policy to the board in February. This is just a specific incident came up within the last week, and I did not have time to revise or produce a revised agenda for the board meeting to get that taken care of quickly. We couldn't have done it within the 48-hour open meeting act requirement. So I did attach a copy of the current policy, and I tried to redline basically just the simple change that we would suggest making. This is a portion of the very first sentence that we would eliminate.
What was the length of time that the employee had worked to that needed the, is it 3 months?
2 to 3 months, maybe 4 months. Right. So really,
I think it's kind of on the absurd side to tell somebody they have to resign or we have to terminate them when there's already a situation in their life that is causing them to ask for this, so.
correct, yeah.
There was a time it wasn't like that, but now we've reached that time with the change in health.
Well, I appreciate the compassionate view towards that too, but that'll involve money. And can we pass something that's brought up the first time at the meeting it's brought up in, or do we have to wait a month before we can vote on that?
It's unpaid. It's not paid.
It is unpaid leave.
Right, as opposed to if we didn't have this change in the policy, then if the person didn't come to work because of some family emergency, they would just be considered absent without leave or whatever.
And then there would be expense because we would either have to hold a position or we pay to recruit and train a new person.
And there may still be some expense to this because if the person is absent, we may need to have other staff work more hours to cover those missed shifts. I mean, there are some dollar implications here.
Is there a certain period of time, like I know with working at the county, before we could say take advantage of some of the leave policies, we have to be there at least 3 months, but I mean, do we have a probationary period? I mean, I know this one was obviously 1 year, but I didn't know if there was any type of restriction for any position that there was certain period of time you have to work before you could take time off for any reason.
Not that I know of, I'd have to pull up our
Okay.
paid benefit leave
Okay.
policies, but I believe that they begin accruing immediately, and I don't
Okay.
believe there's a limit to when they can use it as soon as it's available, as soon as they accrue
Okay.
in time.
They're paid leave.
I mean,
Yeah.
in a worst case scenario, if there were someone that we hired and 3 weeks or 4 weeks into their hire, their spouse had a heart attack and they needed to take time off, we wouldn't just say, sorry, you have to come to work, you know? I mean, so.
Right,
And to your point, Sandy, maybe I'm missing something, but if we're not paying the employee who needs the time off, that money we're paying somebody else.
right.
So that's kind of a wash in my mind, because if you need somebody to be there,
It
somebody,
probably is, you're correct.
okay. I just want to make sure I'm tracking.
Yeah.
I'm getting old.
I follow it. I see.
I don't have
Okay.
any objection.
I don't have any objection.
Yeah, I don't either. So I think we can move forward with that next month.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we are at the end of our agenda. Is there someone who'd like to do our final
I move that we
motion?
adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey,
Motion
Barbara,
carries.
what do you
Is it
need?
8:13?
You want any of these things?